So thank you for having me here to discuss some interesting topics. My name is Stefan Iliadis. Also, my artist name is called Lyrical Lie. So that's what a lot of people know me as, Lyrical Lie, lyrical. And let's get it started.
Ποια ήταν τα πρώτα ακούσματα, μουσικά ακούσματα που είχες πριν ξεκινήσεις εσύ σαν καλλιτέχνης?
Τα πρώτα ακούσματα ήταν παραπάνω στα αγγλικά, on the international artists, ας το πούμε. Εντάξει, ήσουν και κάποια ελληνικά, αλλά the first English ones I would say were probably some bigger names like Tupac or Biggie, Wu-Tang actually. Those were the first ones. From the Greek side, I used to listen to a bit of Ζωντανή Νεκρή. My cousin came down with the first album back then and he's like, man, listen to this. I was still quite young when it came out, to be honest. But yeah, I slowly got into that as well. So those were the first artists.
Okay. And πόσο καιρό ασχολείσαι με το hip hop?
20 χρόνια.
20 χρόνια.
Yeah, I mean, what year are we on now? From before 96, you know, and 96 was like the big era of hip hop, so it's been a long time.
It's been a long time. Πριν ξεκινήσεις εσύ να κάνεις MC,
ναι.
Ποιος ήταν ο ρόλος σου, δηλαδή λαμβάνες μέρος στη διοργάνωση events, ήσουν ας πούμε engaged γενικά με την όλη φάση, πώς ήταν?
Listen, I mean, it started, I always had a passion for music since very young age, and kind of like trying to create some music by myself. And then I basically, when I started listening to hip hop, you know, I was a listener. I was just a fan of the music. So I had the passion for the music, like anybody else. But this was a big passion, like something changed in me slowly with time. Mm-hmm. And slowly I started to write. And the writing was an escape for me, and it was a way for me to release stress and to express myself. It was like a detox, you know. I would get my pain out. So for me, it all started with listening to music and just the love and just writing. So this is how it all started for me. This was the very beginning, let's say.
Εκτός του hip hop όμως, ακούες και άλλα είδη μουσικής τότε, δηλαδή ποια ήταν τα...
No, I started with hip hop, to be honest. Κατευθείαν με hip hop.
Ένα ακούες ας πούμε rock ή reggae?
Listen, I of course growing up, yes, hip hop was number one, but I did have some influence from like a bit of rock, like Nirvana and a few other artists as well, which had, Nirvana actually was one of them.
Okay.
But hip hop was always number one.
Τι ήταν όμως εκείνο που είπες, που σε κέντρησε το ενδιαφέρον και είπες είμαστε δαμέ, τα hip hop που θέλω να κάνω. Γιατί hip hop ας πούμε και κάτι άλλο?
Εκείνο με τράβησε από την αρχή.
Είχε κάτι ενδιαφέρον ας πούμε.
Είχε κάτι ενδιαφέρον και νομίζω επειδή έγραφα, I just fell in love with it from the beginning. You know, I just became obsessed with it. I mean, it became my life. So from the very beginning, I had to, you know, this became like my obsession.
Ξέρεις να μου ήθελες, είπες, τούτο δαμέναστε να ακούω hip hop, αρέσει μου.
I would, that era was very interesting. I was very, it was like the beginning of the internet as well. Like I started with the dial-up, 14.4, you know, and it was a very interesting era. I started like, slowly I would discover music before it got released, you know. And I found ways to get music before it got released, like hip hop, even like the underground artists which were not popular. And I slowly got into this, and I would get the music and I would leak it out. So this was my fun, kind of like my fun. And at the same time, I would listen to it and discover new artists. And I would bootleg the music, I would release it, and I slowly got into this area as well.
Ήταν η δική μας γενιά είναι τούτο που λέεις ακριβώς, δηλαδή πρέπει να ψάξεις για να ακούσεις. Δεν είναι όπως τώρα παράδειγμα, θέλω να ακούσω κάτι, ανοίγω το Spotify, ανοίγω το YouTube. Έχω πιο εύκολα access στη μουσική.
You had to hack the system, you had to go underground, and I found a hack back then. I was like, You know, I managed to find a hack through MIRC back then, to find the music before it gets released, and also leak it out. And I would do that, and I would burn CDs and listen to it and give it to people, and I would go around and be like, hey man, listen to this and listen to that. And it was a very, very fun, man, very exciting.
Πιστεύεις ότι το hip hop είναι έναν είδος μουσικής το οποίο μπορεί να μείνει, να γίνει διαχρονικό, δηλαδή μετά από χρόνια, ασχέτως ότι υπάρχουν τώρα πολλές παραλλαγές, ας πούμε, πήγαμε από το rap στο trap, ξέρω εγώ, αλλά το rap παρόλα αυτά έμεινε σαν είδος. Το δικό μας δεν ξέρω αν θα μείνει ή απλά να χαθεί ρεγινό με τα χρόνια. Αν πιστεύεις ότι, για παράδειγμα, να ακούσω rock τώρα και το rock υπάρχει, έμεινε ήδη σαν είδος μουσικής, μπορεί να περάσουν χρόνια και να είναι το ίδιο, να μην αλλάξει κάτι.
Listen, hip-hop transformed over the last years, but to be honest, even though I don't listen to a lot of stuff nowadays, there is still a lot of people who keep it real, let's say, and they still doing hip-hop. You can still find artists. Yes, a lot of them are the old school artists, but there's also some new school artists who stuck with the hip-hop, and they keep on with the hip-hop. It's changed a lot though, you know, as you said, there's trap and there's a lot of other stuff. The essence is the same, pretty much. The productions have changed a lot. Music has changed actually. Everything has become lazy, you know. Before you went for the quality, you could spend like weeks and months to produce a song, you know. Artists, like R&B artists even, if you go and listen to like an old school production of hip hop or even R&B, you can see how much work went into it, you know. Like you'll hear the live instruments, you'll hear all the work that's been put into it, the vocals. Now it's like you can do a production in like 5 minutes, you know, you just sample here and there, you get some templates, and it's all done on the computer like that. So it's become very lazy. And it's the same with auto-tune. Auto-tune was the beginning, but everything has become kind of auto-tune. AI, robotics, and as the time is passing, it's becoming more and more robotic, and more AI is getting involved. So the future, unfortunately, I think it's going to change even more. And people now, the trend is to they're bored to listen to songs which are 3 minutes long. They want to hear like 30 seconds, like snippets, you know? Because the mind is changing, and you can see that with the new generation and with the kids now. They all go for the reels, or how you call it, the stories. Everyone wants the shorts. So things are changing, people are becoming lazier, and unfortunately it's going to affect music as well. So it is what it is. It is what it is.
Εγώ νομίζω απάντησες, σχεδόν πας σε χτυπά. Το αν είσαι ακόμα active, αν είσαι ενεργός, να μας πεις έτσι κάποια λόγια για τελευταίες δουλειές που ασχολήθηκες. Πας σε ποια κομμάτια δεν είσαι ενεργός, δηλαδή ας πούμε π.χ. σε live performance νομίζω ότι δεν ασχολείσαι τόσο, αλλά από θέμα δουλειάς είσαι ακόμα ενεργός, δηλαδή παράγεις υλικό.
Ναι. Σε κάποια φάση σταμάτησα τα lives, λόγω του ότι, εντάξει, βαρέθηκα λίγο. Lives για μένα ήταν, ας πούμε, listen, go to the club at 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning, and, you know, perform throughout the night, or till 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning. I did it very actively for many years. It was good, but I did that. You know, it's not for me anymore.
Τότε που εμφανίζεσαι σου?
Εντάξει, έκανα πολλά πράγματα. Στην Κύπρο έκανα γύρω στα όλα τα μαχαζιά.
Σχεδόν παντού δηλαδή.
Ναι, τα πάντα. Στα σταθερά R&B clubs, ας πούμε, you know, I was doing it very actively. Ήταν το basement, σε Λεμεσόν, ας πούμε τα standards. Στη Λευκοσία είναι η έκρηξη, το teas, whatever. Και το Νιόβο, or how it used to be called, Agora, and it changed names. Of course, I was doing so many other events as well, keeping active. and abroad as well.
Σε events εγώ συγγνώμη που σε events εγώ θυμούμαι ότι ήσουν πάντα παρόν. Δηλαδή ακόμα και σε fairs ρε φίλε, ας πούμε, ακόμα και σε... Νομίζω στο flea market θυμούμαι αν είχες.
Είχα ασχοληθεί, κάναμε πάρα πολλά events.
Ήσουν παντού.
Ναι, we were getting booked. Also I was always trying to get my name out, especially at the beginning, and later people were booking me, so I guess it was a good thing. But yeah, I got bored with the lives, especially the clubs. For me, the most exciting would be to do festivals, for example. But in Cyprus, we never had that kind of culture to do a lot of festivals.
Ήταν κάποια έτσι, νομίζω που τα μεγάλα φεστιβάλ, εκείνα που είχαν διοργανώσει τότε η DNA,
ναι.
Μέσα στο τρένο.
Ναι, εκείνα ήταν καταπληκτικά. I mean, those were amazing. And that's the lives, you know. That's a life for me, όχι κλάδος, ξέρω εγώ. Και στο εξωτερικό μου πήγα σε τεράστια φεστιβάλ, έκανα από τα πιο μεγάλα στην Ευρώπη, Βερολίνο, Berlin, I did in Sweden, I did in Czech Republic, Hip Hop Camp, the biggest hip hop festival in Europe. So once you experience these kind of things, you know, you get bored of the other stuff. So I'm not doing the lives anymore really, unless it's someone who books me for like a specific event or a close friend of mine, and I will support them, like my friend Didas, who does the Strawberry Jam sometimes, just to support the scene, just to support the hip hop. I'm active mostly in I have my own home studio for the last 10 years, so sometimes artists will come from abroad. For example, Wiley, one of the biggest artists in the UK, he became a friend over the years. He'll come over to my house, he'll record something, you know, he'll take it back home, master it, and release it. So I'll do some productions for some friends, some recordings, and at the same time I have done a few songs here and there. One song, for example, is Jazzy. It's a remix I done of FKJ. It's a nice jam, I think. It has a jazz influence. You can show a link later to it. What else? A few productions here and there. I do a lot of publishing, so I have done some stuff for some international companies. Like for example, I got some of my music for MTV for a few series. Like I've done a huge commercial in Sweden. So I tried to do a little bit of that as well. It's once I discovered the publishing, I got a bit more focused on that. It's very interesting to get your music, like let's say in a movie or a series or a commercial. It's very exciting. Very exciting.
Τούτα που ανάφερες, θέλω να τα βάλω πάνω στην περιγραφή, κάτω που το...
Πρέπει να βάλουμε κάποια links.
Κάποια links, απλά για να ακούσει και ο κόσμος δουλειά σου.
Ακριβώς.
Έχει ας πούμε κόσμο που δεν ξέρει τη δουλειά σου και κρίμα να μην ακούσει. Το άλλο που ήταν να σε ρωτήσω, γιατί εντάξει να κάνω και κάποια skip από ό,τι φαίνεται, τα παραπάνω απάντησες τα. Θέλω να μου πεις έτσι κάποια highlights. Δηλαδή, κάποια πράγματα που έμειναν στη μνήμη σου που τότε, γιατί φαντάζομαι, εντάξει, πες μου ότι πήγες ας πούμε σε μεγάλα φεστιβάλ, σε αυτά, είδες πάρα πολλά πράγματα.
Ναι.
Τώρα, ποια θέλεις να μου πεις, ενώ θα το...
Of course. Εντάξει, έχω πολλά highlights, μπορώ να σου πω.
Κάτι έτσι που ήταν συνταρακτικό, ας πούμε.
Ναι. Listen, I mean, there was a few, αλλά I will give you the ones that really like stand out for me. Probably the biggest one was the day when I got my track It's Official. It was a song that probably one of the biggest releases that I did. It's Official. It's featuring Sway from the UK. He was signed to Akon's label. He was one of the biggest artists in the UK. It was featuring Case Lee, another huge artist from the US. And I made this, let's say, kind of like club banger. Club banger, but not like, it was kind of in the middle. I tried to like keep a bit of the hip hop vibe to it. Anyway, I put a lot of work into that. And when we put it out on the market, you know, I wanted to get it out there, you know. And it got a very good response, but obviously my dream was to get it like, let's say, on BBC One Extra in the UK. Because when you get it on One Extra, for me that was the goal. And yeah, the day I managed to get it played on One Extra, and not only it got played on One Extra, it got voted as one of the hottest songs during that week when it was playing. So when that happened, I was like, wow, you know, like the feeling that I felt there, I felt this satisfaction, you know, it was a huge moment for me. So this was like probably the top highlight. Some other highlights was when I went to hip hop camp in the Czech Republic. I met Non-Fiction there, and I performed. Guru was there, and some other huge artists. So that was a big deal for me. I opened for Flow Rider concert here in Cyprus. That was also an amazing concert. Cyprus Rally, Cycles Ruvas, a huge concert in Limassol at Spiros Kyprianou. There was like 8,000, 9,000 people there. That was nice to see a packed stadium. So I would say that those were probably the biggest highlights, to be honest, like these concerts, and to get that energy and the feeling. Those were the biggest ones.
Okay. Εσύ πώς βλέπεις ότι η hip-hop επηρεάσει σε σαν άνθρωπο? Δηλαδή, πώς ήσουν πριν και πώς είσαι τώρα, και ειδικά τώρα, γιατί παρόλο που είσαι, ας το πούμε, ακόμα ενεργός, δεν είσαι τόσο involved μες στην κουλτούρα όπως πριν.
Ναι.
Άρα, τι είναι που σου άφησε πίσω, τι ας πούμε στιγμάτισες σε?
Good question. A lot of scars. Listen, hip hop, it was a way for me to, let's say, release a lot of my stress, a lot of kind of like a mental release. But at the same time, I learned a lot, you know. It gives you like thick skin, because I've been through a lot. Because of hip hop, I went through a lot, you know. I went through a lot of, I saw a lot of things. It kind of taught me a lot. It taught me life, because I grew in it. I saw a lot of hate, jealousy, backstabbing, all kinds of things you cannot imagine, getting robbed because of hip hop, you know. These things can happen anyway in life, but I saw it to the next level, and it kind of made me the person I am, and maybe to be a bit more closed, you know, it taught me to kind of like be more humble, and maybe that's why a lot of people, when they approach me in the past and they'd be like, hey, you know, this and that, maybe they saw that I was always I always stuck to myself, and that's because I see evil in some people, and I went through certain experiences that made me more closed. So this is what made me who I am, and it's through these bad experiences that I became the person that I am today. Okay. If you want, I can go through some of the experiences, but that will be a bit longer.
Εγώ θέλω να μου πεις, να μου πεις κάποιες καταστάσεις που έγιναν, ας πούμε, γιατί είναι η εμπειρία σου το πώς σε επηρεάσει γενικά.
First of all, growing up in Cyprus and hip hop, when I first started, and you know, we had the baggy pants fashion back then, you know, everyone used to look at us like we're aliens, you know, and especially in Cyprus, it was very tough growing up and trying to like keep a hip hop kind of like culture. People looking at you like, you know, who are you? Like, what are you doing? So, and we were one of the first people, you know, dressing with this, like, you could always see me with a New Era cap and baggy pants and whatever, and people like, what the hell? People didn't know what this is, you know? People didn't know about caps now. Now you will see people who are like trendy or whatever, or wear caps and baggy pants, okay, I think the fashion kind of went away anyway. But yeah, going through this, and you don't get racism because it's not racism, but you get this kind of like, you know,
weird reaction.
Like, who the hell are you? Like, you know, it was you got a lot of aggressive people. Anyway, so that was the beginning of it. So there was always this like weird, you felt like an outsider. After that, we put a lot of effort, we kept at it, you know, we tried to build the scene in Cyprus, tried to do it for the music, and you know, we went through some good times. Eventually, when I finally got my name out, you know, because you know, we went through a lot of process to get our names out. We were going through the live shows, going everywhere for free, just doing it, having fun, you know. But when I finally got my name out, and people knew me. People would approach me and be like, hey, help me out, let's do this, let's do that. Yeah, I did. I helped a lot of people, but eventually I went through some experiences where people were taking advantage, and you know, I had to kind of lay back. And then people also misunderstood me a lot, because a lot of people, for example, I have many examples. They were like, "Oh man, let's work together," and I didn't work with them. With a lot of people, I work with some people, but with a lot of people I didn't work with. Not for some specific reason, but maybe I was busy, maybe I was focused on my own thing for whatever reason. And those people eventually they switched on me, and I would say jealousy, and they would badmouth me. So one day you're like, oh, let's work together, you're amazing, you know, and then the next day, because I didn't work with you, for example, oh, lyrical sucks, lyrical's this, lyrical that, come up with stories or whatever. So, you know, people want to share of the money, people want to share of the, like, I'm getting booked, yeah, I'll help some people, but I cannot help everyone. They're booking me to do a performance. I cannot put you on every show, you know what I mean? And people, because of that, because I didn't put them on, again, jealousy. I have situations where people would book me to open for like huge concerts, like for some multi-platinum artists. The people will call, I won't say names because I don't want to make it personal, but people will call the owners and be like, yo, if you get Lyrical to open, I'm going to close you down, I'm going to close the concert down. And I'm talking about people who are involved, I'm not talking about some random people. People who are like even in the mafia of Cyprus, they would call the owners and be like, you have Lyrical performing, I'm going to close the concert and it's not going to happen. And I had a lot of concerts which got cancelled because of that. So you have this kind of situations as well, where people are putting meso to open for certain concerts, for example, just so I don't open it, just so they can get their name out. You know, I saw a lot of stuff. I went to the UK. I used to perform at Jump Off, the biggest hip-hop event in the UK, where a lot of battling event. I used to do battle rap, because I was always into battle rap. And I used to go there. I was probably the only white person who would go, and like the only white person in the show. You can think of it like Eminem, 8 Mile. It was me and like 1,000, you know, other people from the hood, from whatever. So I went through that process as well, you know, and that was interesting for me as well. I made a lot of friends as well. It was good. It was very interesting. You build thick skin. You see a lot of stuff. That was a very amazing experience for me.
Okay.